שלומך?
הכל בסדר.
טוב, אני שמחה. קודם כל, אני רוצה לומר מזל טוב שסיימת את הקורס.
תודה, תודה. היה כיף מאוד.
How long did you take the Queen Sheba course? How long did it last?
The Queen Sheba course was a week long, so 5 days, starting on a Sunday and going till a Thursday, about 5 hours a day.
Okay, and did you feel like a queen?
I completely felt like a queen. Every morning I would arrive, I would have my own special book, special tochnit program made for me. There was always lovely food and tea and water and whatever I liked, and some days I even went next door to a hotel to study.
Great.
To have a little bit of a break and also to study, and so it was very pampered by everybody.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
We like pampering you. And where did you go during these days?
Every day when I tell people I study 5 or 6 hours a day, in the summer my course was a little longer. I did a Queen Sheba course that was more like 7 or 8 hours a day. But I didn't have as much energy this time, so we were a little shorter. But people think, oh my gosh, how can you study that many hours? But it's all broken up. So in the morning, first thing in the morning for an hour and a half or 2 hours, we learn vocabulary and of something we were going to do later. So we learned, this week we were doing tiulim, little tours, with Ulpan. That's the part of the program that's called, that's for tours. So I'd learn some new words, some vocabulary, and the history of a neighborhood or a particular site or a little bit of Israeli history. And then either later that day or sometimes the next day, I would go with one of the tutors and I would play the tour guide. And so I would explain in English, in Hebrew, סליחה, אני לא יודעת איזה שפה אני מדברת, סליחה. I would explain the story of a neighborhood, of a place. And we went to museums. We went to 2 very, very interesting museums. One was called the Bird House, which is after the 6-Day War, when they were digging in the old city, they found the remains of this house from the Second Temple period that had been burnt down, and they found amazing artifacts there, including the hand of a woman with a sword in it, and all sorts of bottles and perfumes, perfume bottles and dishes and amazing things, and that they believe that this may have been one of the places where they made perfume to be used in the services in the temple. So it was amazing to see those artifacts and to learn the story. Story of what happened and also the story of what may have happened, because they have a film that imagines what the museum where the underground prisoners museum, where the British imprisoned members of the organizations that were working against them for independence. So that was fascinating, because you can actually see the cells where the prisoners slept and how they slept, and even saw the gallows, which is the closest I've ever been to a gallows, and I don't plan to get any closer.
That's good. So you also, you were here during Tu B'Shvat,
yes,
the celebration of the New Year for the trees.
New Year for the trees, yes.
Which is great. So how did you like, we had a little seder.
This is very special for me, because at home, I don't even think I really knew what Tu B'Shvat was. I think I vaguely did, but we don't do anything special.
Yeah.
So to arrive here, first of all, to be in Israel for this time was amazing. But to do the seder was something that, nobody I know at home would do this, and I'm planning to do it now myself next year.
Yeah, great.
So to have not only the ritual and the stories and the songs, but also to go through the process and to be thinking of the idea that by observing this seder, we have a chance to renew ourselves, and to, as the Kabbalists believe, that we have a chance to erase the sins of Adam, because by eating fruit and praying and doing all the right things now. So it's a fascinating concept.
Great. And then
Yes.
we went to the market the next day.
The next day we went to the market, and it was cold and rainy, but it didn't stop.
No, the sun.
The sun came out in the middle of it.
Did.
Yeah, the sun came out.
Did.
And it was amazing. There were street performers, jugglers, mimes. There were these people 7 feet tall on stilts, dressed as trees, and then they were just amazing, and musicians, and all sorts of funny things. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful celebration. There was a juggler who took my hat and juggled with it, and. It was really,
And you
really
feel
fun.
you can really do. I mean, when we went to the market, or actually even not touring with a teacher, do you really feel that your Hebrew has become? I mean, did it come to a level where you really communicate with the Israelis in day-to-day situations?
Absolutely. The funny thing the first 24 hours or so that I'm here, my Hebrew is usually quite rusty. Although this trip, my driver wasn't my regular driver from the airport. As soon as he knew I was studying, he said, "Rak Ivrit, only Ivrit." So I started right from the taxi.
Great.
And what happens is, when I'm here, I have an apartment, I have neighbors, I go to the store, so I live a life in Jerusalem. And when I'm out, I'm not thinking in English. I'm not speaking in English. I'm using my Hebrew. Even if Israelis love to speak English to me, but I still speak.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they like to practice.
Yes.
Lama lo, why not? But I speak Hebrew back to them.
Good.
And even yesterday, after our day in the museum and with lunch, and I found it very hard. Actually, found it hard to switch back to English, which was very funny, which was good. It meant I was thinking in Hebrew. But I had to fill out a form at the grocery store the other night, all in Hebrew. Good. So that was a bit of an adventure, but to get one of those cards. So it was very fun. So yes, I use my Hebrew all the time.
And you feel the courses helped you?
Absolutely.
Good.
It helps. It's just an immersion, but it's not a frightening immersion. It's an immersion in which Ulpan-or gives me the tools to להתקדם, to progress.
Great. And do you think it was like a Hebrew boost?
Absolutely. I was usually I'm in Israel 4 or 5 times a year. I'm unusual because I can't stay a long time usually, but so these short courses are wonderful for me. But I hadn't been here since the end of June, more than 6 months. And I was worrying, I thought, oh my gosh, how much Hebrew have I lost? As it turned out, I didn't lose much because the foundation that Ulpan-or gave me over the last few years has been so solid. But now with this, I just feel like $1 million in terms of the Hebrew, in terms of where I'm going, and we're going to continue and progress, and it's very exciting. But yes, it was a great boost.
And now, what is your favorite sentence in Hebrew?
Well, my favorite sentence in Hebrew, I think, is lama lo.
Lama lo.
Why not?
That's good.
Because I think of it in terms of, Orly at the beginning of this trip said, I had this idea, do you want to try something new? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? And whenever someone asks me if I want to try something new or different, I say, lama lo. So I think that's a good philosophy about learning Hebrew as well.
It is.
You know, maybe you haven't done this before. Maybe you've never, had to order in a restaurant in Hebrew before. But no, why not?
Well, thank you.
B'vakasha.
Great.